For some time now we have been analyzing the Nimzo-Indian, and in last week's episode we concentrated on the Rubinstein variation. We did then see what would happen after Black's fourth move b6, and today we will continue by analyzing Black's fourth move c5 instead.
This move takes a different approach than b6. In this variation, Black begins to attack the white center by using his pawns. Even though the main idea in the Nimzo-Indian is to wait with such advances, this move is still a good option for Black.
It is namely so that Black can develop and attack the white center with his pieces without gaining any disadvantages. But that does not mean that it's bad to fight back in the center with the pawns, as the variation will show.
There are many differences between moves b6 and c5, but even though white is still to choose between the same fifth moves, bishop to d3 and knight g to e2. These moves might seem rather timid and not especially threatening, and bishop to d3 isn't, but knight g to e2 forces Black to play more actively in order not to fall behind.
After knight g to e2, Black should capture on d4. White should here recapture with the pawn, but it might be tempting to recapture with the knight in order to activate the knight. But it is not recommended. This since a capture on c3 would lead to white having weak double pawns on the c file.
One has to be careful though not to act too quickly, because if Black recaptures on c3 with the bishop, white will be the one with the advantage. This since Black has far too many open black squares which can be easily exploited. All white would have to do is to play bishop to a3, knight to b5 and knight to d6, and Black is in quite a bit of trouble.
So how should Black attack the weak c3 knight after knight takes on d4? Well, by playing knight to e4, and after white's queen to c2, Black exchanges the knight on c3 and then plays bishop to e7. The position is almost equal, but white has weaknesses which will be hard to defend, and maybe Black won't be able to do anything now, but in the endgame those pawns will most likely be white's downfall.
Instead, white should recapture with the pawn, and this is followed by Black's castle kingside. White does now play a3 and Black retreats with the bishop to e7. Not wanting to exchange in c3, since it would only lead to white being able to develop more properly by releasing the bishop on f1. Now white plays d5, stopping Black from doing the same, and now follows an exchange in d5 and rook to e8. We have now reached a debated position, and both white and Black have fair chances from here.
If white wants to reach a more stable position, bishop to d3 instead of knight to g to e2 is recommended. The aim is to reach a natural and uncomplicated development, which was not really the case after white's fifth move knight g to e2.
Black should now play knight to c6, threatening the d4 pawn, and white's answer is knight to f3, protecting the pawn. White can of course also play knight g to e2 in this position in order to protect the pawn on d4. The plan is not to recapture on c3 with the knight, since that will leave the pawn unprotected. Instead, white wants to have the possibility to advance with the f-pawn without having a knight blocking the way, which is the case after knight to f3.
After knight to f3, Black exchanges on c3 and then plays d6. The position is solid and equal. Black might from here want to play e5 with the plan of locking the center and then attacking the c-pawns, but it all depends on how white decides to continue. We end this week's episode of the Opening School now, and we'll be back again next week, so see you then.